Welcome to Dad Got This. What are we making today? Filipino Pancit Bihon. Noodles with chicken. It's amazing. This is actually a request from my wife's coworkers. This is for her holiday party. They wanted some Filipino food. So I'm gonna use the Instant Pot to make the shredded chicken. A lot easier. Stay tuned.
Who got this? Dad got this.
What is Filipino Pancit Bihon? Bihon, I have no clue what it means. All I know is when I go to the Filipino store, I buy the tiny noodles. There's two different types. There's canton and bihon. Canton are like a thin rice stick. Bihon are a thicker egg noodle. Everybody over at the wife's holiday party, they requested the thin noodles, so that's what we're gonna go with. So we got a couple ingredients to grab. All right, we need some chicken, some veggies. We got scallions, a little bit of parsley, cabbage, the daughter's new favorite vegetable, celery, and over here, I cheated. I bought shredded carrots. Oh, gosh, garlic. All right, pantry items. We're gonna use a little sesame oil, a little bit of garlic powder, onion powder, use my shaker, some salt, and some pepper, and I think that's it for there. And we are gonna also need some good old-fashioned cooking oil. The last thing we need is in the pantry. Bihon noodles. Oh, chicken broth. Forgot. We also need a little bit of soy sauce and Filipino fish sauce. We got a lot of crap here. What are we gonna do with it all? It's really simple. We're gonna cut up the veggies. You shred this a little bit. These are already diced. We're gonna cut these up, chunk those up. I cheat, I use minced garlic. I know the fresh stuff is better, but it's just easier. And I normally have my own chicken broth that I've made with carcasses from the chickens and things that I cook in the Instant Pot, but I'm gonna use some of this. First things first, let's clear our area and get ready to work. First things first, let's go ahead and rinse and cut some veggies. Say maybe 4 sticks of celery should do it. We're gonna go ahead and rinse these off. And rough chops, nothing special.
Now, I did this wrong, apparently. I did not cut the celery the Filipino way. The Filipino way would not be chunks like this. It would be long slices cut at a diagonal, and they're supposed to be very thin. Apparently, you don't want chunks of celery in your pancit. I kind of like the chunks, but that's not the Filipino way.
All these veggies are gonna get cooked at the same time, so they can just go in the same bowl. I forgot to get an onion. We need an actual onion, not just scallions. Do a chop. Almost like a dice, but doesn't have to be as small. This is actually my daughter's new favorite vegetable. She only really likes it plain, which is a little weird. Like if I put too many seasonings or stuff on it, she's not a fan. But plain, like boiled cabbage in a soup or something like that, she loves. So we need about half a head of cabbage. So we'll pull these big chunks off of the really green stuff. And the cabbage, I cut my cabbage first, then I rinse it. I think I get a better rinse out of it that way. And you're going for more like a shred. And then I'll take this and I'll give it a rinse. I feel like I get a little bit better, deeper rinse out of it that way. scallions. Neat trick, you can take these, put them in a cup of water, so they're just covered, and they'll start growing new scallions. I'm pretty sure they're called scallions. Scallions, green onions, I thought those are interchangeable terms. I may be wrong. If I am, let me know in the comments. I'm wrong all the time. Just ask my wife. And this one, we're gonna go ahead and give it a rinse. Give it a little bit of a dry, that seems to help to me. And this is more of a garnish than flavor. So I just kind of shred off the stuff I want. I don't need a lot of it. And then the big stems, just toss those. Would cook down anyway, but. And then we're just gonna carrots. These are pre-rinsed and pre-cut, and I need about half of these. That's all the cutting for today, so this is gonna go away. So the way you cook this is you use shredded chicken. You can make shredded chicken a lot of ways. You can use chicken breast, you can use chicken thighs. We like chicken thighs, they just seem to taste better. And you can boil the chicken and let it simmer for 30 minutes to an hour, or you can pressure cook it for 12 minutes to 13 minutes in your Instant Pot, or whatever other pressure cooker you may have. I'm going pressure cooker. One thing I have noticed about pressure cookers is you have to up your seasoning a little bit to get perfectly seasoned food. If you just follow a normal recipe, they come out a little under seasoned to me. So I like to go a little heavy on the seasoning, lots of garlic, lots of spices and everything when I go ahead and I pressure cook the food. I think it comes out a little bit better that way. That's just my little Instant Pot tip. I have a video where I go over this, but I use specific rings for specific cooking. I think it keeps contamination of smells that get caught in the ring out of my different foods, especially my rice. I have a rice only ring and a dessert only ring. Then an everything else ring. So this is gonna go with the everything else ring. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take our chicken thighs, we're gonna saute them a little bit with some spices, then we'll pressure cook them. In my handy little shaker is even parts 50-50 garlic powder, onion powder. I use this stuff on everything. We're gonna go ahead and coat the chicken with it and then saute it. It's gonna give it a little bit nicer flavor after it's shredded. Using about 6 thighs should be perfect for this recipe. And we are just gonna coat these nicely. And as you can see, I've got bone in, skin on. That's gonna add a lot more flavor once everything's done in the pressure cooker. Speaking of the pressure cooker, we're gonna go ahead and set this to saute and make sure it's on the normal setting. We're gonna go ahead and take sesame oil, tablespoon of sesame oil. We're just gonna let that come up to 10. I may have had some water droplets I got in there. So. My Instant Pot's only big enough to do about 3 at a time, so that's what we'll go with. While we're waiting for this stuff to cook, we're just gonna go ahead and brown it on both sides. Takes a couple minutes, nothing fancy. Might as well talk to you a little bit about what's gonna happen next. This is unfortunately not a one pot, all Instant Pot meal. We're just using the Instant Pot to make the shredded chicken part. You're gonna need a wok or a large pan to do the next part. And that's just where we're gonna saute all the vegetables and the noodles. Speaking of the noodles, once we put the chicken in the pressure cooker and start it, we're gonna start soaking the noodles. These are Pancit Bihon noodles. They are a rice noodle. They're very thin. They come in these dried packages, and you're gonna have to find an Asian store. You can find a Filipino store, or just most regular Asian stores are gonna have these. They're like a rice stick noodle. They might not be called, bihon and look exactly like this, but that's what you're looking for. A rice noodle, long, skinny, thin noodles. That's what the recipe calls for, and that's what we're gonna use. So these have been going for a little bit. They should release from the pan pretty easily. There we go. Perfect. We're not cooking this chicken in here. We are just giving it a little bit of color just to develop a little bit of actual flavor. All right, these should be good. Okay, do you see all that stuff down there? That's gonna give you a burn notice on your Instant Pot if you just go ahead and threw everything in there. So we need to deglaze this pan. We're gonna use a cup of chicken broth. And you're gonna wanna scrape. You're gonna add 3 tablespoons of minced garlic to this. Now between all the bits that cooked from sauteing the chicken and that garlic, we should get pretty nice flavored chicken. Now if you notice, I haven't added any salt. I'm gonna salt this to taste when we're done. So make sure you just kind of look at your Instant Pot. You wanna make sure that there is enough liquid so it's gonna come to pressure. Let's go ahead and pop that back on. We're gonna do manual, 13 minutes. Some things to look for. You wanna make sure that you're on sealing. Right here is the little pressure button. That's gonna have to pop up. Once the timer starts counting down, if that's not popped up, you're not pressure cooking. So the pancit noodles have to soak for 10 minutes to become soft before you can actually go ahead and cook them. Because it's only 10 minutes, I'm actually gonna do a natural release of 10 minutes on the Instant Pot. So once the Instant Pot beeps, I'll go ahead and start soaking the noodles. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but you can see that little button has popped up. That little button popped up and our timer started. Means we are pressure cooking. Okay, the Instant Pot beeped, which means we're gonna give it about a 10-minute natural release. I like to do natural releases on just about all my meats. The quick releases tend to suck all the moisture out of a meat and you don't get as nice tender of a meal. That's just my opinion. So, we're gonna go ahead and do some cold water just out of the sink. And we're gonna have to soak these for about 10 minutes. You wanna get them soft enough to work with so that way when you saute them, everything comes out correct. If you tried to boil these like you do spaghetti, they would turn to nothing. That should be good. I had grabbed 2 packages of these, but now that I think about it, it's really only 1 package that you need for this. 2 would be a lot. So we'll go ahead and start with 1. If we ever needed to make more, we can. But you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna get these and you're gonna try and submerge them in the water. I might need a bigger bowl. As they soak up some water, they'll become more pliable and you'll be able to get them in a bowl. The main thing to worry about is you want them completely covered. they're not completely covered by the water, you're gonna have crunchy bits of noodles. And that's not what this dish is about. This dish is all about nice sauteed noodles. It's sat for about 10 minutes. We'll release the rest of the pressure. Barely anything. And we'll open it up. Smells wonderful. Chicken looks perfect. We're gonna go ahead and pull it. The next step, we gotta shred the chicken. There's lots of ways to do this. I like to just do it with a fork. And we're gonna remove the bones. And you just pull it apart. And you just wanna get all that meat away. Remove the bone. You don't want knuckle, so try to pull that little knuckle part away if you can. After about 10 minutes of soaking, your noodles should look like this. Pliable, kind of soft, and then so we're gonna go ahead and drain those. Normally, I would cook this on my induction cooktop over there, but unfortunately my big pan and my wok are both not induction friendly. They failed the test. So we'll cook them over here on the stove. So take your wok, we're gonna put it over almost a medium-high heat. It's about an 8 on my stove. And go ahead and oil it up. Garlic. Go with 2 big tablespoons full. Because my wok is non-stick, I only use silicone tipped cooking utensils on it. That'll help keep it from getting scratched. I like to add my garlic as the pot or wok is heating up because garlic will burn really quickly on you. So by doing it this way, I can, as soon as it gets to that perfectly browned point I want, I start adding my other stuff in. Works out a little bit easier and you don't burn your garlic. Burnt garlic tastes terrible. These woks heat up pretty fast. So as you can see, I'm already starting to get some browning on my garlic. All right, that's just about where I want it. It's fragrant, I can smell it. We're gonna go ahead and start adding in veggies. Add a little extra. Now this is a lot of vegetables. You might want less. You can go ahead and adjust the recipe to however much you want. Now as these are cooking, I'm gonna go do a little seasoning. I've got my garlic powder, onion powder. That is about a tablespoon of each. Now these will cook down, so you'll notice them shrink quite a bit. This is the juice from the Instant Pot. It's about a cup. We're starting to get close to that texture we're looking for these. And now we're going to steam these veggies a little. So we're going to high. We're going to cover those and steam them for just a few minutes. That's going to help get anything that's hard tender. As you can see, those steamed up a little bit. Now we're going to let that reduce down and boil off that liquid a little bit. All right, we are about ready to add in our shredded chicken. 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. And we're going to start with 1 tablespoon of fish sauce. That is going to be an adjust to taste scenario. All right, noodles. And then you're going to salt and pepper this to taste. Let's get a little bit of this, a little noodle. It's pretty well seasoned. It needs a little bit of salt. I'm going to say a tablespoon. And I've said it before, my family's not much of a pepper family, but a couple of sprigs. A little bit of pepper. Check some of the veggies. That is pretty good. You can add more or less salt, but we'll go ahead and get this plated up. So I normally don't do this, but I figured we'll give it a try. Do something a little new. We're gonna do a taste test. So the traditional way to serve this is with a little bit of calamansi, if you're lucky like me, or you can use lemon or lime, either one. So let's give this a little try. So we'll try a little bit of chicken. The chicken is nice and tender. You can definitely taste that garlic that we put in the pressure cooker with it. It really penetrated the flavor of the meat. And the noodles are nice and tender, not overcooked, not mushy. All the vegetables are tender crisp. And this is perfectly seasoned for me. I don't think it needs any more salt or anything else. It's got a nice tang to it a little bit. You taste that fish sauce a little bit. Most of you won't even know what that taste is, but it's just an umami flavor. It's wonderful. I have to stop or I will eat that entire wok full of pancit. My wife and daughter will kill me. So if you love Filipino cooking and just cooking in general and using little things like the Instant Pot to hack things and make things go quicker and easier on yourself, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the little bell so you know when I release a new video. I've got all kinds of videos. I got so many videos that are already shot that I'm editing that it's getting hard to keep up, but I'm loving this. So please like, subscribe, comment, ask me questions, share my videos, do whatever you can. So this is Dad from Dad Got This saying, go cook something.